popularized this idea of festive Christmas. The story goes the top hat had rather dramatic debut in fashion. Top hats had a few different styles and could even protect your house from lightning. Then again, to complete this round, you will crochet 10 single crochet stitches. Hello everyone! Today I would like to share my new free crochet pattern with you. It's a miniature crochet top hat that I called Christmas Carol. Of course, Charles Dickens with his famous book Christmas Carol did not invent Christmas, but he significantly contributed to this holiday's popularization and in many ways the image of how this holiday is being celebrated today. He sort of popularized this idea of festive Christmas, you know, the one with feasting and games and dancing, general spirit of goodwill and giving, and some even say that the greeting, Merry Christmas, it existed before, but it was much less common. So one of the very first things that I imagine when I think of Christmas Carol book and Scrooge is top hat. The story is set in 1840s, and top hats were a standard part of men's attire during that period. But of course, that was not always the case. The story goes the top hat had rather dramatic debut in fashion. The first man to wear one in public in 1797 is said to be John Hetherington. This new and unusually tall hat was so bizarre and so strange that, quote, it shocked people, scared horses on the street, children screamed, and women fainted just at the sight of it. As a result, Hetherington was immediately arrested for disturbing the peace and dressing indecently. I love this story. I think it's so funny and so colorful, but unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, not everyone thinks it's true. In fact, many historians say that the entire story is completely made up because there are no records in any of newspapers from 1797 of such event. More than that, they say that the first mentioning of such story, including all the colorful details, for the first time can be found in English publication from 1896, which is about 100 years later. But nevertheless, by Charles Dickens' time, the top hat was the ultimate symbol of respectability. In fact, hats were crucial for respectable appearance for both men and women, and going out barehead, like without any hat, was simply not proper. Top hats had a few different styles and could be made from different materials. Beaver felt, and beaver hats were very practical because it would naturally allow to repel snow and rain, and sometimes the fancy hats could be made of silk, and those would be called silk hats. Top hats were also different in height, and so some say that the taller the hat, the more important you look. Fun fact, the United States President, Abraham Lincoln, was not only wearing a very tall hat, but he also used it as a portable briefcase. Some say Lincoln usually stored letters and important papers inside the crown of his wonderful tall hat. But going back to Charles Dickens' England, you did not have to be a president to wear one. As I said before, top hats were essential for respectable appearance and not just for wealthy gentlemen. Street musicians, carolers, and even humble shopkeepers might don one particularly for special occasions, such as Christmas. And if you were feeling extra festive, you could have tucked something in the brim of that hat. For example, holly. Holly wasn't just pretty. It has a long history stretching back centuries. In pagan times, it symbolized eternal life because it stayed green in winter and it remained popular for centuries. By the late Middle Ages, almost all surviving church records include entries for the purchase of holly in the winter because for Christians, evergreens also symbolized eternal life and the promise of return of life in the spring, right? And the Victorians firmly believed that holly brought good luck, kept away evil spirits, and could even protect your house from lightning. So, picture it. A frosty Victorian street, gas lamps glowing in the fog, carolers singing in harmony. A gentleman tips his tall top hat, and nestled in the band is a little sprig of holly. Red berries catching the light, whispering a promise of warmth and good fortune for the year ahead. And that is exactly the feeling I was hoping to recreate with you today. So grab your yarn and let's crochet a little piece of history and a wonderful tradition together. Let's do it! If you want to make this slightly bigger hat, then you will need a regular acrylic yarn, medium 4 or weight 4, and a 4mm crochet hook. And then to make holly, so there's 3 berries and 2 leaves, you will need to use crochet thread. This is cotton crochet thread size 10, and I used 1mm hook, so I think it looked just perfect size-wise. If you want to make this tiny miniature hat, then you will follow exactly the same pattern, but you will use, instead of acrylic yarn, you will use same cotton thread and a 1mm hook, and that's what you will get. For this tutorial, I will be using gray yarn just because black is a little too hard to see on camera, but of course for your hat you will want to use black. And we are starting with the magic ring. Pull through, just gonna show it slowly just in case, and just chain 1. That's it. That's your magic ring. And now we have to work 6 single crochet in this ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now pull to close the ring, and I'm going to make 1 single crochet to the first one just to show you a complete circle. I'm gonna mark it as well. That's what you have, right? So that's the first stitch of round 2. You just marked for yourself. And round 2 is very easy. You just have to make 6 increases. So it's going to be a top of hat. So we're working right here, right at this top spot right now, which means we have to increase our circle. And to do that, we will crochet 2 single crochets in each stitch. So we have 6 stitches now. We will make 2 single crochet in each stitch, and we will end up with 12 stitches by the end of round 2. So 2 here, 2 to the next one, and so on. This is the end of round 2, and we have 12 stitches. Next round, round 3 is easy. We will make 1 single crochet here, and then 1 increase, so 2 to the next stitch. And we will repeat it 6 times. And by the end of round 3, we should have not 12, but 18 stitches. Okay, that's the end of round 3. Our circle is getting bigger. Round 4, 2 single crochet, 1 increase. So 1 to the next one, and then increase. And you will repeat it 6 times, and you will have 24 stitches at the end of round 4. Okay, 24 stitches here. That's what we have. Round 5 is interesting. So in round 5, we need to make single crochet BLO. Let me get a bit closer here. So BLO stands for back loops only. And if you look at the stitch from the top, you will notice it has 2 loops, a front loop and a back loop. And what we need to do here is insert the hook only under the back loop. So right here. Just under the back loop. And then complete single crochet. So it's the same single crochet stitch, it's just you are working into half of the stitch instead of the whole thing, right? So you insert in your hook only at the back loop, but the rest of the stitch is exactly the same. It's a regular single crochet stitch. And the reason this is important is because when we use the stitch in the round, it lets us bend and sort of pinch the crochet later, which is exactly how we'll get that nice realistic shape for the hat. Okay, so this is what we have at the end of round 5. This is what our circle looks like. Round 6, insert your hook just under both loops, like the usual way, the normal way. And no changes here, so 24 single crochet, 1 single crochet under each stitch. So rounds 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So 5 rounds, no changes, just 24 single crochet all the way around. So this is what it looks like at the end of round 10. And this part here is our top, and as you can see, it naturally bends right at the round where we did the below stitches, right? So that's what gives us a more realistic sort of look. And now we just need to narrow it down a little bit, and to do that, in the next round we are going to crochet 10 single crochets and then make 1 decrease, and we will repeat it 2 times. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we have to make a decrease. So I'll show you my favorite way. And it's called invisible decrease. So it's quite easy and it's really nice. So don't insert your hook under both loops like you normally would. Instead, go under the front loop like this. And before you do anything else, insert your hook under the front loop of the next stitch. So now you've got 3 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over again, pull, and that's it. So then again, to complete this round, you will crochet 10 single crochet stitches, and then you will make 1 decrease. Okay, 2 stitches left, we will decrease them. So under front loop, then another front loop, and then crochet these 2 stitches together to make a decrease. That's it. So now in round 11, instead of 24, see, you have this curve. Now we have 22 stitches. And at the next round, we have to do something really interesting, because for this hat, we need to add one more sort of shaping round so the brim lies flat. And to do that, we will use a stitch called the single crochet front post, SCFP. So this stitch is very interesting and very helpful. I'm going to show it to you slowly. So you insert your hook here, and then normally you grab yarn and pull it out, right? So here you don't do that. You go in to insert your hook from front to back. Then you go in to pull it out, sort of like around the post of the stitch. See? You're going to have post right on your hook, right in front of you. And then you're going to complete a single crochet as usual. So that's our first stitch. And we need to make 22 of those. So you insert your hook and then you pull it out. And then you complete single crochet as usual. That's it. And you will see in 1 second that it will help the brim to keep its sort of nice and flat, more realistic shape. That's it. That's what it looks like by the end of round 12. And round 13 is the last one. Very easy. You just have to make 22 increases. So basically you just have to work 2 single crochet stitches in each stitch. And ta-da! That's it! Our hat is ready. See, it is very nice and flat at the bottom. Those SCFP stitches helped us to create this very sharp, very defined angle for the brim, so I really like that. Just have to take a yarn needle and hide all ends and make sure that everything is nice and pretty. And again, as I said, if you're making the tiny miniature hat, you can follow all the same steps. You just will be using 1mm hook, and instead of yarn, you will be using black cotton thread. So now I'm going to show you how to make holly, so berries and leaves, and we can decorate it. This will be good for a bigger hat only. If you made a tiny miniature hat, then you just will embroider leaves and use beads. Okay, so we will need 1mm hook and cotton thread size 10. And we start by chaining 8. Actually, you know what? I don't like this idea. I think it's going to be really difficult to see, and these leaves are a little bit tricky. I want to make sure you can see everything in detail. So I'm just gonna quickly chain with acrylic yarn. Just so you can see better. Okay, chain 8, so we did that. Now, 1 slip stitch to the second chain from the hook. Okay, and I'm just going to mark it. Then 1 half double crochet. So that's what we're gonna do. Pull through all 3. So that's 1 half double crochet. Then we have to make a picot, but very small one, with chain 1. So chain 1, and then insert your hook right here. See, like under these 3 loops, and then you pull and then pull again, sort of like a slip stitch. And then you do 1 half double crochet to the same place. That's it. And then you just repeat it. So to each chain you will work 1 half double crochet, then chain 1 picot, half double crochet to the same chain, and then you just repeat it until you have 1 chain left. So here we made half of the leaf, and I have one chain left. You can keep two chains undone as well, because you will have berries right on top, so it doesn't really matter. It's actually going to be easier to stitch, so just see for yourself. You can have one or two chains left at the end. Then when you're happy with it, you just turn and repeat exactly the same thing on the opposite side to complete the leaf, right? So this was like half, and now you have to do basically a mirror image and go from the bottom of the leaf all the way back up to the top. Okay, all done. Yours will be much smaller. So one slip stitch at the end and chain one, just to make the top a little bit more pointy. And this is approximately what it's going to look like. And you just have to make two, like I made two here, but you can make three as well. And that's it. Now that we are done with leaves, let's make our berries. Okay, so the berries are super easy, and I'm not even going to break this down in detail because you literally just need to make 3 tiny balls. And I'll put the pattern up on the screen for you. All you do is magic ring, then 6 single crochet into the ring. Then round 2 will be 6 increases, so that's just 2 single crochets in each stitch. So from 6 you will go to 12, and after that just work 2 rounds of 12 single crochets, so no changes. And then the last round you decrease back to 6 stitches, so you will decrease 6 times and you are done. Yeah, so you can add a little bit of stuff in if you want, but honestly they're so small, and the cotton thread is quite rigid, so you could leave them empty if you like. I added a little bit, I think it just looks a bit nicer, but honestly I think it's optional. And that's it. Then you just close them up with a needle and you're done. So that's it. As I mentioned earlier, now you just stitch it to the hat, and I added a black ribbon around my hat. You probably can't even see that. I'm not sure if you can see it on the screen, but in real life, having a tiny ribbon, black ribbon around, it gives such a nice little touch and makes it even more realistic. And for a tiny hat, just use the same green cotton thread or even embroidery floss and just make a few little stitches to look like leaves, and then stitch on some small red round beads for the berries. I think it's super cute and so simple. And that's all. I hope you had fun with this project, and I hope your hats turn out festive, cheerful, and just perfect for the season. As always, let me know if you have any questions, leave me comments, and if you enjoy my videos, please support my channel by liking and subscribing. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye!